Welcome to Covenant Presbyterian Church and this time with our children. We are so happy to have you worshiping with us today. Today is a very special day. Today is Father's Day, and I hope that you will take some time today to thank the men in your lives who love you and care for you and make you feel so special. We're so grateful for all the men in our lives who are godly men and faithful in their lives and their example. So give them a big hug today and say thank you. Well, speaking of fathers, I'm wondering, how many fathers can you think of from the Bible? There are many, many fathers mentioned in the Bible, and I'm going to share just a few. Let's see if these are any of the fathers you thought of. First, I have Noah. The Bible tells us that Noah was a righteous man, and he remained faithful to God even when the whole rest of the world was kind of turning wicked and going crazy. He looked to God and followed God and was obedient. And in doing so, he built that ark that ended up protecting his family in the great flood. Obedient, righteous Noah. And then I also think about Abraham. Abraham is known as a father to all the nations. And Abraham was a man of great faith. And he also had great hospitality. He welcomed in strangers and fed them and took care of them when they walked by his home. Abraham shows us that God has purposes for our lives our whole lifetime through, and God certainly kept his promises to Abraham that his descendants would outnumber the stars. And then I also think about Jacob. Now, Jacob is known as the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. And Jacob, in the beginning, when he was kind of young, he was a bit of a schemer. But over time, he learned to trust in God. And God blessed him and blessed all of his children as the 12 tribes of Israel. And I also think about King David. King David is known as a man after God's own heart. David talked with God all the time and shared when he was happy. And David shared when he was lonely and afraid. And he shared when he was even scared. And so David was a man of great faith. And we can look to him in the Psalms and all the beautiful words that he shared in his communication with God. David also loved to sing. He played the harp and he loved to sing praises to God. And he was a great leader who trusted in God as a little shepherd boy early on in his life. He was not afraid because he put his trust in God. And I also think about Joseph, who was Jesus's earthly father. We know that Joseph was a carpenter, and Joseph must have been a man of great integrity for God to place Jesus, his own son, in the hands of Joseph. And so we know that Joseph was obedient to God when he heard the angel's message. And we also know that Joseph, according to the angel's instructions, gave Jesus his name. And what a wonderful thing it is to remember all of the faithful examples of the men in the Bible who were fathers, some fathers by birth, and some like Joseph, who played in the role of father, loving and taking care of Jesus as he grew into a man who would change history and who we know is also God. What a wonderful thing. And these men were not perfect, but God used them because they loved God and they were obedient and faithful to God. And let us not forget that God is our Father as well. God is our parent, and God is the one who breathed the breath of life into us. And so we are children of the one true God. What a wonderful thing to think about on this Father's Day. So go tell one of the, even just one, two, three, four of the men in your lives that you are thankful for them and for their faithful example of loving God. Have a wonderful, wonderful Father's Day.